Good evening, House of Public Discourse Forum, and welcome to the Progressive Talk Zone. I'm your host, Johnny Hill. A lot of things going on in the House of Public Discourse. I have a phone conversation with one of our esteemed members and someone that I'm working with on many projects, and that's Mr. Rich Romine. And I have decided to publish a recent conversation that him and I have had. Some of it at the beginning is about, behind the scenes House of Public Discourse stuff, which you guys might be interested in. Also, we have, I think, a very thought-provoking and very informational conversation about where we're at here in America today. And I think, you may not want to listen to our conversation, but I'm going to put it out there. I'm going to have it where you can listen to it if you choose to. And once again, I hope everyone's having a great day. We're actually pretty much kicking that ass and taking names these days in the House of Public Discourse, and it's because of people just like you.
You're inside the Progressive Talk Zone with House of Public Discourse founder and host, Johnny Hill.
Mr. Hill, I lost you there.
Yeah, well, that was my fault. My phone was on mute. But I talked with Salem.
Okay.
He's going to send me a list of the registered voters in his district list. I knew he'd have one. We could have gotten it, but it would have been a lot more tedious for us to get it. He's already got it, so he's going to email it to me. So we're going to have a list of the registered voters in his district. He's running for state House representative.
Oh, perfect. I really think those are the people we really need to go after.
Right, yeah. And he's gay. He's going up against the establishment. So we got some challenges. He's got some challenges.
Well, that's what makes it fun.
Yeah, he's got some challenges. And I was I was up front with him right off the bat. I told him, this is going to be a difficult. First of all, we got to beat the Democratic establishment.
Yeah.
Because I can tell he's like me. I'm pretty much an anti-establishment guy, Mr. Rich. Not totally, but pretty much. And I can tell he's definitely anti-establishment guy.
I don't have a problem with that.
Well, I don't want. I often have wondered that you might think poorly of me because of that, but I just don't agree with all this shit going on with the Democrats either. But it's
let me tell you, you're preaching to that choir. Let me tell you.
All right, good, because I knew we were on the same page. But anyway, also I asked him, and why I know this guy is is on the go. I asked him. I said, "Sir, in addition to that, I really would like for you to sit down and write a platform statement."
Okay.
So we have an idea. He says, "I already have one." I said, "Well, great. Well, then send that." So what we're going to get a double. We're going to get a double with him. We're going to get the voter registration list, and we're going to get his platform. So that way we can kind of formulate a game plan. And then what I'm going to do, as soon as I get those lists, I'm going to see who I can get to volunteer. And because really, Mr. Rich, I was looking at it. It's 2022 is almost here.
Oh, hell yes. It's scary shit.
Yeah.
Let me let my silly old dog in.
Yeah.
He misses my wife.
Where is she at?
Oh, she's in Canada. We finally got her to get up there.
Yeah.
She's been working hard to do it, and her father's failing fast, and
yeah.
so it's just, it's great that we were able to do it. I'm thrilled as hell for
Well,
her.
I just wanted to touch base with you and let you know we're moving forward with this guy, and
Do you have a couple of minutes?
yeah.
I've been thinking, number one, you're a smart guy. Just want to say that.
Okay.
I really enjoy working with you because you're the only person I know that's as crazy as I am. Number one.
Yeah. Yeah.
I truly appreciate that.
Yeah. I am crazy.
Yeah, you're kind of nuts, but good nuts.
Yeah.
I mean, how can you be sane in a crazy world? It's better to be insane.
Well,
in a crazy world.
well, I'll put it to you this way. I might be crazy, but my ass ain't stupid, so I got something to be thankful for.
Oh, I agree with that, Johnny. You're a smart dude.
Yeah.
But anyway, here's a couple of thoughts I had. One of the things we could do with your platforms is music and invite people to it.
Right.
To give his platform and stuff along with music.
Right. Right.
And they could play that. You could play that a whole lot. You could.
Well,
a couple hours.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Rich, let me tell you what I'm starting to do. Okay.
All right.
I'm starting to produce. What I'm doing, I'm going right down the list of all the famous R&B, disco, funk bands.
Okay.
Cameo, Bar. I mean, these are all popular bands, but they're for the older generation. Now, I can do it for the newer generations, but I'm doing like a greatest hits mix, and I'm putting it to video, and I'm not going to brag or boast, but I'm getting really good at it.
I bet you are.
No, what I mean is.
You've always been good at it.
What I mean is, Mr. Rich, I've gotten it down where I can take a video of somebody dancing, and I can slow that video down or speed that video up to match whatever music I'm playing.
Wow, that's good.
Well, where it looks like the person's actually dancing to that song,
Yeah, no, that's cool.
when they probably were dancing to something totally different. But anyway, I've noticed I'm getting a good response from that. So you're right in what you're thinking. We could use, that's why I've used music to begin with. I always felt like it was that, and I was always trying to attract, I felt like we needed more, diversity in the House of Public Discourse. So black urban contemporary music is the way I went.
Okay.
Now I could play rock and roll and anything else. It ain't like
No, I understand. I've always thought that music had more power than just about anything. And I think
it did for me, Mr. Rich. If it wasn't for music, I really don't even think I would be alive right now because it kept me sane most of my life,
Yeah, well, music, hell, I agree.
Yeah.
And, I listen to music a lot. When I'm writing heavy-duty shit, I listen to music, usually Pink Floyd, but, that's just me.
I like people. You know what? I am totally opposite of you. You know what I listen to when I write? I listen to music when I write, too.
What do you listen to?
I listen to classical music when I write.
You know what? I listen to Strauss a lot.
Yeah, I'm not really up on all the different artists. And what I've got a Pandora classical music station.
Right.
And I'll pop that on when I start writing, and it's really, it helps the brain think.
Yeah, it does. I do it all the time. Let me tell you. Hey, I've got something I need to tell you too.
Okay.
Herb sent me an IM today, telling me about saying that Instagram
Right.
maybe someplace we should consider because 40% of the people on it are millennials or younger.
Right, and that is a platform that I know nothing about.
Me too.
I know nothing about it. I know my son. He's absolutely correct. My son, he's big time Instagrammer.
Okay.
It's for the young people. Yeah, it's for the young people. Yeah.
It is. So what I asked Donald Scott Terry.
Yeah.
I said, you do memes. Really, he sent me some stuff that was pretty damn amazing.
Good.
That I thought that, so I asked him, would you consider this? Because I'd have to talk to everybody, we'd have to get everybody else to agree. But, would you consider this? We could talk about this in the next meeting. He hasn't gotten back to me yet.
Yeah.
But if he could run the platform and we could get him some volunteers to help him.
Yes.
He is really creative in memes and creating things.
Yeah. Yes, and yes again.
And you guys could collaborate on TikTok. The videos.
Well, let me tell you, Instagram and TikTok are two places that I have no presence on whatsoever that I need to have a presence on.
Absolutely. I think Herb is, as usual, dead on.
Yeah. So what we'll do, I will get with Donald. Let me tell you, actually, you once again, here you are being godlike. Here, number one, we need someone to run my Twitter account.
Yeah.
I've got a Twitter account. I've got one set up, and I just don't do anything with it. If we had somebody that we could, put in there that could dedicate themselves to our Twitter account.
Yeah.
I could
give them a structure to work with.
Yeah. I might. You know what I might do tonight? We got Donald for Instagram. I might post something. The House of Public Discourse needs a Twitter guru. Could you please reach out to me?
I think that's great, and I haven't heard back from Donald yet, so I don't know if he's into it or not. I know he's got time limitations.
Yeah.
But if he's not the one, let's find. He could add memes. He could add some of his stuff that he's really creative with.
Mm-hmm.
We could have other people create stuff. This is one of those things that we can pass out like peer network architecture.
Right.
You say, okay, we need memes. We need this and that. You need to base it on this or this or this, but we need it. What can you do?
Well, you remember what comes to my mind right off the bat. You've heard of Occupy Democrats.
I sure have.
You know that's how they got their claim to fame is they made memes.
Okay, am I saying it wrong? Memes or memes?
Memes, no memes. I might be saying them wrong, and don't have like you're God. I'm just living. It's your world. I'm just living here.
Johnny, please.
But anyway.
See my pants laughing.
No, I'm a huge fan of yours. Okay, man, just know that.
Well, it goes both ways. I'm a huge fan of yours.
Yeah, I think what's happened here, Mr. Rich, is we got a 70-year-old guy and a 60-year-old guy who have met, and we have got something in common, and that is people. We've got a talent that people seem to gravitate to. People gravitate to you, Richard, because of what you're writing.
Well, they do to you too.
Well, I've been getting. I don't write as much as you do. I don't write as much as you do. But what I do think has really turned out to be a great formula for us is I decided about 5 years ago that I was going to make the House of Public Discourse a place where people could come and get progressive bias news, daily news.
Yeah.
And so what I did, I will send you what I call my daily read list. It is one that a friend of mine and I put together that has, oh my God, it's the secret to my success if you want to know the truth.
Okay.
Because what I have done is I've taken that list and, that's where I make my posts from. You know how a lot of people, share other people's posts and stuff. Well, what's happened is I started out real slow. My posts were not getting shared, but now my posts are getting shared like crazy.
Yeah.
So we need to capitalize on that.
Oh, hell yes. I
Yeah, and I think what we're doing. I think in actuality, what we're doing is that we're learning as we go, and we don't know what the shit we're doing, but we're not stupid, so we figure it out. We figure it out as we go.
You know what? That's really, actually, I think that's importantly positive.
I do too.
The reason is all these damn shit the think tanks have come up with.
Right.
You know, we need to come up with new, original stuff.
Right.
That is us.
Right.
And that's what people are looking for now. They are looking for Johnny Hills. I just want you to know, Johnny, when we rule the world, I don't want Afghanistan. I'm just saying, okay?
Yeah. Well, you know, I just put it to you this way. Okay. Let's take Afghanistan example. It's an across the board fuck up.
Oh God, yes.
Okay, it's an across the board fuck up. But here's what we're fighting. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, here's what we're fighting. The mindset that we're fighting against. Okay, the Afghan withdrawal was a debacle from start to finish. Okay, it was a debacle. And then all these right wingers want to get in there and talk about, you know, impeaching Biden and you know I'm no fan of Joe Biden. He's a neoliberal, but I don't hate the man. But you know, he is just as responsible for Afghan as anybody else. And this is my point. I don't know where you were, but back in 2004, when the lie was being propagated, I didn't believe it then.
I didn't either. I wasn't even close.
Yeah, I did, and all of us who did not support George Bush's war have proven to be correct in our doing so.
Yeah, you're right.
And these people, I got a new word. It's called obscene hypocrisy.
Oh, hell yes.
The obscene hypocrisy coupled with short memory loss. Every motherfucking, excuse my language, Rich, every redneck Trump supporter that supported Bush and the war lie are as responsible for Afghanistan as anyone else.
Oh, I agree totally.
Yeah.
You know, but there was an undercurrent there. They wanted to get into these wars to bankrupt the country.
Right.
To make sure we could never, ever return to a stakeholder economy like FDR had.
Yeah.
That was the underlying current.
Right.
And I think most people miss that because they just want to make sure that we were so broke we had to kiss their ass.
Yeah, and you know, we've been getting a lot of a lot of this abortion, this anti-abortion laws getting passed.
Yeah.
I posed a question today on my wall. I'm going to read it to you because I would like to hear what you got to say.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, I'm a guy, so I'm going to ask a guy question. If these Republicans who want to do away with abortion get their way, do they realize women will continue to get them? And based on history, this would lead to quackery and coat hanger debacles. Even more burden on the taxpayer in the long run. Am I wrong in assuming that the GOP and their blind as football bat supporters who don't give a shit about the poor black or white or Hispanic child once it's out of the womb?
Yeah, you're right on the money.
It's okay. We love the embryo, but we can't stand the child.
Yeah, exactly.
I think I'm gonna make a meme on that one.
All right, sounds good. So, there's a couple of things that they're very vulnerable on. That, let's say Afghanistan's a good one to start with. That the people who fought in those wars were actually very heroic, and they were very. They really went above and beyond again and
right.
again and again.
Right.
And the problem is not with them.
No.
It's the fools who sent them there to bankrupt the country,
Right.
to keep us from seeing what was really happening here. They wasted those young men and women. They condemned many of them to being crippled for life, and yet in the end, nothing happened except the Taliban got a whole lot of equipment.
Well, and also too. Okay, now I wrote several articles earlier on about ISIS, the formulation of ISIS, and all that stuff. And this is these people, these Republicans act like this is the first time this has ever happened. We have left military weaponry behind in groves in the past.
Oh, yeah, we have. But see, that's just it. What the corporate news does is it lets the rich people, the Kochs and those boys, focus everything on a small point.
Right.
That's what they do. That's why they're so powerful. It's because it's not that they're right, they're wrong. But they're able to focus it on a very small point. Everything. From MSNBC to Rachel Maddow to Fox News and Tucker Carlson. They were all focused on the things that the rich people wanted focused on.
Right.
As much as I respect Rachel Maddow, I bet one of the reasons she was nearly left is because they were fucking with her.
Yeah, I personally don't watch her show anymore. I don't watch cable news, period.
Right.
And I'm a better person because of it.
I'm sure you are.
I don't hate Rachel Maddow, okay? But she became a bit of a corporate tool herself.
Well, I think you're right.
Especially during the whole Russiagate thing.
Well, I honestly believe that Russiagate is real.
Yeah.
I don't know if you agree or not with that. That's fine either way. I don't care.
No.
But I honestly do.
What I came to understand, okay? What I came to understand is that Russia was more involved with our, mingled in with our shit than I thought initially. Okay.
Yeah, they were so deep.
Yeah, so that Russiagate was one at first. Well, first of all, I wrote an article. Okay, I wrote an article, Hillary Clinton's foray into McCarthyism.
Okay.
I felt.
Yeah, I'm not a Hillary Clinton fan, by the way. I am absolutely not.
Yeah, well, I am not either. I'm glad to hear that.
I just like her. She's just a different version of the assholes on the other side.
Right, and I know for a fact that they ran in the same circles in New York because I lived in New York for 2 years. In the garment district, I was a national sales manager for the members only. You remember members only jackets?
Oh yeah, sure do.
Yeah, I was. The label got sold to a new person, to the designer actually, and she asked me to come up to New York and head up. Said we were trying to get the mom and pop stores back, and we just couldn't do it because the Jewish owner, and I'm not hating on Jew, but the Jew guy sold it to the Walmart guy, and next thing you know, once you sell a clothing label into Walmart, you can kiss its ass goodbye.
Yeah, pretty much. Now, my wife has a real dislike to Jews. Every time I've run into them in business, the ones I've run into, they've all been scummy bags.
Yeah.
Let me tell you.
Yeah.
They've all been.
Yeah.
I have a saying, it's, if it comes between your money and their lifestyle, your money's screwed.
Yeah, and we got that reality staring us in the face every day, don't we, sir?
We do. We honestly do.
That's what brought us together a lot of us together in a lot of ways.
I agree with that. You're absolutely right, Johnny. You're absolutely right.
I think that commonality of inequality is what has brought us together. And now it's just a matter of us putting our collective minds together and figuring out a game plan. You know, I was thinking third party for the longest time. I'm not against third party, Mr. Rich, because 60% of Americans want one. So but I am starting to understand the incremental progress versus, but once again, we're in the fourth quarter now.
Yeah, that's why I'm against the third party, because guaranteed the money to support it will come from the same people that screw us now. You can say what you want; they'll get in there. There'll be somebody, there'll be a third party away from it or a PAC, and then they'll start exerting their influence once they start pumping the money in. Right. It'll end up the same way.
Let's take the Green Party, for example.
Okay.
I have a lot of friends that are identify themselves as Greens.
Okay.
And if you really pull back the onion peel with the Green Party,
right,
and get really engrossed in it, they've got a group that control that party that's no different than the Republicans and the Democrats.
Yeah, it's the way it always works, Johnny. And if you have a party, it's going to turn into the same thing, because you have to have money, and the only people that have money are the assholes.
Yeah.
One group or different.
Now, I don't want to be misunderstood here. I don't have a problem with anyone that considers himself a Green. If I label myself an independent, progressive, democratic socialist.
Okay, that's good.
That's what I am.
The only thing I have against the Green Party is they're too limited in their scope. They look too small. If you play that small game like the Democrats did for years, they only look at this little bit. They hope to get this little increment here and there.
Yeah.
Then you're dead. You are already dead before you start.
Yeah.
You got to start at the very bottom.
Right.
That's building people first.
Right.
There's no other way. No other way at all. Because that's if you get somebody a job and you give them a chance, 90% of the time you're going to get someone who's going to be thinking, a thinker. You develop your own thinker, and once you start developing thinkers, then it's holy shit, Katie bar the door.
Right.
Because the reason why these assholes keep winning, Democrats and Republicans, is they can't think for themselves. They listen to the bullshit.
Right.
Same old stuff, year after year.
Oh, I know. It is so frustrating. I've quit letting it frustrate me, because it was frustrating me to the point that it was fucking me up, Rich, with that what you're talking about. I don't understand the mindset of these people.
I don't either. Oh, by the way, Herb told me that, I have to say, I've given this a hell of a lot of thought.
Okay.
I think he's finally right that calling it foundationism puts it right there with Nazism and communism.
Right. I was going to talk with you about that.
Yeah, I think he's absolutely.
He made that point with me as well.
Yep.
And he made a profound statement. Mr. Herb New, my publisher, and he's my publisher because of you, Rich Romine.
Well, he's a great guy, and I got to say this: he gave me a bunch of shit, and the bottom line was I deserved a bunch of shit.
Well, guess what? That's why I love you. That's why I love you, because you're not that type of person who thinks I'm never wrong. I know I've always said my mouth ain't no damn prayer book, but but what I think I do is stir conversation.
I think you do too, Johnny.
Yeah.
And I think you don't give yourself nearly enough credit. You may think you got this giant ego going. But there are times when you don't give yourself enough.
Well, you know what, Rich? This is the honest to God truth. There's a reason for that. I grew up hearing that I was a conceited person. I am not a conceited person.
No, I can't see that at all, John.
I am not conceited. And it has evolved to the point, and I've got a new, if I got a baseline narrative, let me tell you what it is, okay? Here's Johnny's narrative. You're not talking shit if you can back it up. You're talking the truth. If you're talking shit and can't back it up, then God damn it, you're talking shit.
I like that, Johnny. But you know that conceited thing?
Yeah.
It's always been a weapon against people who think for themselves.
You're damn right.
Either you're conceited or that's not true. You think for yourself and they can't control you. You're a conceited asshole.
Right.
That's the truth.
Well, what I've even compartmentalized it down and scrutinized it even further. And the reason I can do so is because I went to a school in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, that was 60-40, racially mixed. And then Rosewood being, the way Rosewood was back then and probably still is now. And what I found was that in the liberal bastion of Chapel Hill, North Carolina, junior high school, my teachers taught me that be an individual, and by being a good individual, you will be a good community member.
Exactly.
In Rosewood, conservative right-wing Rosewood, the message was you got to conform to the group morality. Whatever the group says is right is what the group says is right. And if you are not with that, then something's wrong with you and you're in the out group.
Yeah, why do you hate the white race? Really? I've heard that more times than I can count.
Yeah.
Why do you hate being white? I don't. I like being white. I like being
Let me tell you what I've evolved to. I'm damn proud to be a white guy. And I'm damn proud to be a white guy that says my white brothers and sisters are wrong in their racism and have been, and we need to change.
Absolutely. We're in total agreement there, let me tell you.
And it hadn't been easy for me.
You lived in the Bible Belt.
Look, I have just recently, Rich, I'm writing a book. And I think you've worked with me long enough to know that I'm just not a haphazard throw shit out there motherfucker. I try to be correct.
I know you do, Johnny, and yes, I appreciate that.
Yeah, well, what I did, I got a 600-page impact study on Goldsboro, North Carolina, Wayne County, where I grew up.
Okay, I know that area pretty well.
And I'm going to tell you, Goldsboro is the poorest city in the state of North Carolina and the 5th poorest city in the whole United States.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and even on the state level, in Goldsboro, Wayne County, you make less money whether you're a professional or a, everyday blue-collar worker. You make less money in Goldsboro and Wayne County than you do even in the other urbanized areas of North Carolina. So my point is, there's a reason for it. And the reason for it is the political mindset of these conservative Republican voters who hate the government, they hate they hate regulation, they don't allow new money to come into the city. The old money keeps the new money out, and this is going all around in small town United States.
Yeah.
These people are like jumping hoops when they get another McDonald's in the city or something. We finally got a Taco Bell, and that mindset these people, there's a lot of entitlement, a lot of inherited wealth down there.
Yeah.
And
yeah, you're right.
and these people with the inherited wealth, they have just walled themselves off intellectually with the real happenings. And that's why this area of Goldsboro that I'm from, and when I'm saying this, Mr. Rich, Goldsboro could be anywhere in the United States, definitely any small town, southern United States.
Yeah.
So my hometown is your hometown too.
Yeah, and you're right.
So that's really the motivation for me writing this story about growing up in that type of environment.
Can I tell you a story about a slightly different perspective you might consider?
Yeah.
Well, I grew up in Plant City, Florida, which is just like 22 miles from Tampa. And all the real power in Plant City was wielded by a group of wealthy men, wealthy and powerful men, judges, the people who had money, just like you were talking about.
Right.
And they would meet after the Rotary meeting at the Planter Restaurant in Plant City. Everything that happened in that town, they decided it. It wasn't elections or, it wasn't elections were nothing. That was where the real power was.
Uh-huh.
And the people that was the monster they knew. And that's why when desegregation, all these things came in, they fought so hard against it. That's what racism really is. It's a fear of changing what could happen, or someone doing what you're doing to them to you.
Right. Well,
that's what it really is.
Yeah. Let me give you an example of what I have to deal with. Okay.
Go ahead.
I got a sister that's 10 years younger than me. When I left Rosewood when I was 18, she was 8 years old. Okay.
Okay.
She hates my guts. She's like my mother and father. She's one of those Q-infested types. And she can deny that, but I've looked at her wall and what she's posted, okay? So she can say she's not a Q-infested person, but she is, okay? She's also an assistant principal at a school in Wayne County. And this girl has called me a nigger lover more than once. And when I think about it, if I was a black parent, I wouldn't want my child nowhere near her.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want my child nowhere near a person like that. And she, when she found out I was writing this book, first thing she did was call me a communist. The second thing she did, well, I'll sue you, but you can't sue the truth. Yeah, you can't sue the truth. And then lastly, just to give you an example, she texts my wife, okay, who she's never talked to ever. She got the number from my mother. She texts my wife and gives her all this bad Johnny stuff that I supposedly done 40 years ago. You know what I'm saying? And I know her mindset. She's thinking, "Oh, my wife's going to throw me out on the street," So I've had people working against me, in one fashion or another down there, and writing this book for me is just my, I went a long time, didn't even give a shit about it, Rich. Fuck them people. But I think with the conditions of America and all these things we're talking about, I think these situations that I went through could be of value in the totality. It could be made valueless because I went through, I wasn't the only white guy that went through that kind of stuff.
No, I'm sure.
And, I think it could be helpful as far as my book goes. But as far as all the other things that we're doing, man, I think we're really moving in a good direction. I think we're moving forward and not backward.
Well, yeah, I hope you're right. God, I do.
Well,
I don't know for certain, but I hope you do. I hope we are. One thing you did, you have to. Boy, I'm really amazed at what your sister did.
Yeah, I mean,
I have to say,
you ain't got to like me, or you ain't even got to love me, but to text my wife and think that you could say all this bad stuff about Johnny and that my wife would just throw me out on the street. She's got another, that's just that frustration I'm talking about. The mindset of these dumbass people, man.
well, Johnny, that's because you've knocked her off her pedestal. People who have a view of themselves, a certain view of themselves,
Yeah.
they don't want to see the truth.
No, they don't. No, they don't. And she's,
That
yeah.
they're willing to do about anything.
Yeah, and the thing, let me give you the bottom line. She's a narcissistic person for thinking that I would even mention her, and she had anything to do with me growing up in Rosewood. And she had, I was 10 years old before she was ever born. I went through a whole bunch of shit with my mother and father by the time I was 10 years old. My mom was an abusive mouth bipolar woman, and I don't give me no pleasure to say it.
I'm sorry, Johnny. That sucks.
It don't give me no pleasure to say that. And everybody, why would you expose your mother? Your mother? Let me tell you something, Mr. Rich. My mother didn't give a damn about me as a son, and I begged them for 5 years to 4 years to let me go to another school, that I was getting bullied at school. I didn't like that school. All my friends was going to another school. I'm having trouble here, Mom and Dad. Please help me. Well, they were too engrossed in the Rosewood Boosters Club, Mr. Rich. The Harper Valley PT fucking A. And, I was a big, these motherfuckers can say anything they want to. I was the star of the fucking football team, man. And they didn't want, if I would have left school, the star football player wouldn't have been there no more.
And they would have lost their prestige from that.
Exactly. They were a keep up the Joneses type of people. And that persona, for me, Mr. Rich, from this, their upkeep of that public persona that they had meant more to them than me.
That's sad, Johnny. I'm sorry.
But that's the truth, though.
Can I make one suggestion about what you're writing?
Yes.
Don't make it too personal with them.
No, I'm not.
Make it overall.
Yeah.
The whole community.
Yeah.
That's what the story is.
Yeah, I'm doing that. I think I've done that pretty much. I may have got a little personal there in a little bit, but I've already got 4 chapters written.
Wow, I'm impressed. That's good.
I'm going to edit down the introduction and send that to her first.
Okay.
And then we'll move forward from that. But what I'm more, I'm focused on 2 things now. I'm focused on writing my book, and I've always focused on the House of Public Discourse. That's my baby. That's my baby. I had failed at a lot of things in my life, Rich, but the House of Public Discourse ain't one of them.
Well, Johnny, you only fail when you quit.
Well, I ain't never gonna quit, bro. I ain't never gonna.
You ain't never failed.
Right, true. That's true when you really want to get down to it. But I don't want to lose my train of thought here, but I didn't get too personal with them, but the actions of my family so confused me, okay?
Right.
It so confused me as a child because I don't know about you. I'm not saying it's a plus. It could be a curse. But I'm a person that don't forget nothing. Nothing, Rich. I can remember stuff that went on when I was 4 years old.
Yeah, I'm not that person. I can't. I forget things maybe on purpose.
Well, I'm a proven guinea pig that marijuana does not kill brain cells.
I like that, John. I like that a lot.
Yeah, but I remember the arguments back and forth between my mother and father. Right in front of me.
Yeah.
And I know that's.
Yeah, I went through that too. My parents were divorced.
Yeah, I know that. That's what I was getting ready to say. I know I'm not the only one that's ever happened to. But when it gets right down to it, when I have to admit, I'm a very emotional guy.
Yeah, I think you are.
I'm a very emotional person, and I sometimes let things bother me more than I should. But racism bothers me.
Well, it is the precursor for poverty. I think that study, that survey you have showed.
Oh my God, Rich!
Racism is the cause of poverty.
Right, Rich. I am telling you, I read all 600 pages, sir. I read all 600 pages, and I'm going to tell you something. When I got done reading that thing, I became distraught, depressed, man, because whether these people want to realize it or not, I love Goldsboro. I love Rosewood. I love my hometown. I want to see it do better. I don't want it to be the poorest city in the state of North Carolina. I don't want it to be the 5th poorest city in the whole country.
No, I'm with you. But, that's the thing. When a place turns inward and forgets, that the people, the poverty becomes more important than the people. That's what happens. You get racism out the ass.
Right.
And racism becomes the industry in town. That is the industry.
You god doggone right. Mr. Rich, you are such a smart person.
Please don't play that one too much. That's not true. I'm just good at one thing. I can take the facts of something and build something logical on top of it. That's what I'm good at. Or I can break something down logically. That's my real gift.
Well, you really have been a real source of help for me talking with you like this because I need a sounding board in a way, and I don't mean for you to be that.
Well, we all do.
Yeah.
We all need a sounding board.
Yeah.
Believe me.
Yeah.
I do too.
Yeah.
And you're a good one for.
Yeah, and I think we got us a good one in Herb New. I think he's an excellent sounding board.
By the way, one thing I got to warn you, he's going to tell you shit you don't want to hear.
Oh, I've already told him I'm expecting it.
Well, don't worry, he won't disappoint you.
I know.
The bottom line is I would listen. When he first started sending me stuff, I had no idea who he was or what.
Yeah.
And I didn't listen. But now, when he says something, I listen.
Yeah.
And I find that I'm better because of it.
Well, I think, I'm pretty good with people, and I picked that up on him with our one conversation that we've had. And I am so grateful for you turning me on to him because this guy is a talented guy.
Oh, hell yes. He is a very talented guy.
And
that girl, that lady, Jill Stein or whatever, still...
Yeah, I'm going to reach out to her once we get off the phone.
She's another one.
I need to see. We need to see where she's at. See where she would like to. I hate to say this, but there's this saying. You fit in where you get in, so to speak. And I don't mean that in a generic sense. I mean it. Like for me, I think I fit in with, writing and producing and doing media stuff. I think you fit in with your writing and your being able to logically put things together. Herb fits in, and Ken and Carol all fit in because we share, the commonality of spirit, and also we have a talent for putting pen to paper. And, I think I'm learning. I didn't realize it at first, but I didn't realize how powerful effective pen to paper can be.
Oh, hell yes. It can be just amazing. And, you leave when you write a book, you leave a legacy.
Yes.
And that is something, God, I hate telling you stories, but can I tell you a quick story?
Yeah, no. Let me ask you this: if I can take this conversation and edit it up some, can I
Oh, hell yes.
Because I think we've had a good conversation here.
Oh, we have. You're always welcome. I never guard anything.
Well, just like I said, I always get make sure, because I don't ever want to take anything for granted, Rich.
Okay. Let me tell you this story. I was a very good volleyball player. I mean, I tried out for the national team. I didn't make it, but I was with him for 6 weeks because I was very close. And but after I had not made the team, I came back and I played one last tournament, and I played incredibly well. I carried the team. These guys, my regular team had broken up, and I couldn't play with them. So I got on a pickup team where I knew the setter. He was a good friend of mine, and I knew some of the players. They should never have we got to the finals, and we should never have gotten there. We were just not that good a team.
Yeah.
But I carried them the whole tournament, and I was good enough to do that. But on the last play of the game, the set was too low for me, and I got blocked. And I'm going, oh, shit. When I was super happy, I thought we played really well, and, it was great. And this guy came over to me, and he was pissed off at me.
Yeah.
I mean, literally pissed off.
Right.
He said, you got blocked. Well, it was the only block I'd been blocked all day.
Yeah.
We lost. I had his dream. I had shattered his dream.
Yeah.
Because the guy was never a really good volleyball player. But
right.
For that game, we were doing well. But anyway, the thing I learned from that is I can hit 99 good balls, and the one ball that's not is what people remember.
Yeah.
When you play in sports, there is no legacy.
You damn right there ain't.
Nope, there's nothing there. You're only as good as the last play you make.
Let me tell you something. My last home game at Rosewood High School, my senior year, we were playing the number 2 overall team in the state, Mr. Rich. I'm talking about we weren't playing a cupcake. We were playing a damn good ball team. I scored we beat them 66-6. I scored 6 touchdowns and rushed for about 200 yards in that ball game. It's a school. The 6 touchdowns is still a school record. I have never, ever gotten one word of, hey, Johnny, way to go, or that a boy, or nothing for it.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. With this book, you create a legacy.
Right.
Instead of, with other things, you don't. And it's one of the things that drew me to writing, because the bottom line is, maybe people don't want to read what you're writing today. Maybe it'll be 50 years from now.
Right. That
book of yours exists, and there it is.
Well, Rich, I swear for God, I'm not saying this. That's been my mindset since day one.
Well, it's important. It's something to remember that, it's not so much people say, oh, this Rich guy is real smart. No. It's the things that you want to say that's important. You have something to say here, and I really think it's important what you have to say. It's not so much what your parents did or how your family feels about you, but a lot of people will relate to that.
Well, what we're talking about here in totality is systematic racism, and that is the issue at hand here.
It is. And you were there. You're right in the belly of the beast.
Look, I tell my brothers and sisters that I'm close with, I don't care if they're new brothers and sisters I've met here on Facebook or in Rosewood, I can guarantee without any hesitation that I've been called a nigger and a nigger lover 5 times more than any person of color ever has been.
I never have been called that many times. A few times.
Until, matter of fact, I'm not a nigger lover, but I love the black human race, and I'll tell you why. I grew up in an affluent, upper middle class family. Okay. Most of my friends were black, poor kids living in shanty houses over at the state hospital. And what I found, I'm growing up in a supposedly rich house, and I got a mom yakking on me from the time I wake up to the time I go to bed, and I'm not over exaggerating that. You would have to know my mom to know what I'm talking about.
You sound like a lot like my wife's mom. She's awfully hard on Kathy. I swear to God.
Well,
I would never take it, to be very honest.
And I saw no matter that they were struggling to put food on the table, they were struggling to put tennis shoes. I mean, my daddy went and bought me a pair of shoulder pads and cleats and everything else. But Mike Reed, my buddy, he didn't have it like that. And I saw the love and the warmth and the camaraderie in those families. Right. And then I heard all the derogatory comments, racial comments, and they just didn't add up, Mr. Rich.
Oh, I understand, believe me. That I truly understand. I do.
And yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's what I'm writing about. Go ahead.
I agree. Let me tell you, I'm going to tell you another story here.
All right, good.
This is 1960, and
year I was born.
That's right. I used to love the Japanese science fiction movies.
Yeah.
Syrian.
Yeah.
Okay, well, my mother had a beauty shop right next to the movie theater in downtown Plant City. So while she was working one Saturday, I went in and watched the movie. 2/3 of the way out to the movie, she came in and pulled me out. Out there were, unknowns to me, there were 2 black kids up in the balcony watching the movie. There were 1,200 white people out there looking to lynch these 2 10 and 12-year-old kids.
Yeah, that's exactly what I. Yeah.
Yeah, that is a real thing that happened. I was there. I saw it. And you used to be down. We're going to go down to Nigger Town, and we're going to shoot the shotgun jacks.
Yeah.
Kill a few. Keep them in their place. That happened regularly down there.
Well, if the truth be told, and I'm not going to mention no names because we're going to I'm going to make a broadcast out of this tonight. But I had people on my dad's side of the family, and that I don't know that this is true, but it was rumored it was the Grand Wizard of the KKK down there. If not the Grand Wizard, if he wasn't the Grand Wizard, he was up there in the echelon somewhere.
Hey, let me tell you, in Palm Harbor, which is just north of us, they had the Florida KKK headquarters. Every Friday night. You ever see the movie Zulu? Mm-hmm. One of my favorite movies, by the way.
I actually watched it about a year ago because you had, or when you remember when you said you wanted to use some music from that?
Yeah.
I watched the movie.
It was a hell of a movie.
It was a great movie.
They play that every Friday night because of all the black guys that got killed. and they would cheer. I would work late at night. I was working, and you would hear them. You could see the lights. They had bonfire and shit. You could hear them cheering down from it.
Yeah.
Every Friday night, they showed that movie, and they just had a great old time.
Yeah.
And that is. You wonder why there's. They keep saying, "Well, it's all you guys. It's you guys." No, it's not us. It's not us at all.
Mm-hmm.
They can say what they want, but you don't see us cheering like shit.
You know, tell me if I'm wrong in this statement, but I think 80% of right-wing politics is based on racism.
Yeah, and I think the other 20% is keeping people poor.
Yeah.
That's why I call it the abuse culture. Everybody abuses everybody else.
Sure damn do.
If you're on top of the pile, you abuse everybody. And if you're midway to the pile, you abuse everybody below you. And if you're down just above the black people, you abuse the black people. Or just above the black people.
Yeah.
You abuse that's where it is. The people who are there, the people who are just above them in economics or whatever, or think they are or whatever, they're the real abusers because they're afraid they're going to be them.
Right, and I noticed something else too, a mindset. You got a poor white family living in a trailer in Goldsboro, North Carolina.
Yeah.
They gotta have someone to be better than.
Yep, that is so true. I told this guy who was just giving me shit about the white race, why do I hate the red race and stuff. Go back to your 40-foot trailer and your 15-year-old pickup truck and wonder why you're poor.
Yeah.
Because you're a fucking racist.
Yeah. And you're voting, and tell me, and you ain't got to tell me I'm right. I know I'm right. I've looked at the voting. If there's one thing about Johnny I've done in my 10 years, sir, is I have become a well-read person. Okay? I've done a lot of reading.
And that's a big freaking deal. That is a big deal.
There's no, I don't even pause for a second. These people that we're talking about have been voting against their best interests politically based on their racist ideology.
You're right.
Right.
And thinking that they're right for keeping everybody poor. That if you keep the black people poor, it doesn't matter if you're poor. It's just that crazy. My dad was a high school principal and assistant superintendent of schools.
Wow.
In West Virginia. He's a smart guy. He has his PhD. And real smart guy.
Right.
Someday I'll tell you the stories about him. He was when I write about him, I write him as the original Antifa. He hated, or Antifa, whatever you call him, because he fought the Germans in Normandy. He was in a tank, and he was up looking to find the German guns, and one of them nailed his tank. Everybody was killed but him, and he had a hot metal on his arm.
Yeah.
The tank came off and just caught him and burned the shit out of him.
Right.
But those are the real Antifa.
Right.
Those are the real ones.
Right.
They fought World War II.
Right.
When they start claiming that shit, you notice they quit saying that, right?
Yeah, I have noticed we're not hearing as much. Yeah.
Now, they hit you for a while, and then they come up with something new. That's what the think tanks do.
Yeah.
And so they know that people will start talking about, well, my granddad fought against the fascists.
Yeah.
It just makes sense. So they quit doing it. Then they go back to something else. That's how they get away with this shit.
Yeah.
But anyway, he was also Los Alamos when the atomic bomb went off.
Yeah. Well, I want to say this. Now, there's no reason to be jumping through hoops and being all joyful about what happened in California because that's California. But what we did learn from California is, first of all, we can win without any of these red states, even though we need them. And Georgia's what put us over the top this time.
Right.
But it's the swing states that matter the most. And what we saw in California, I think, is a positive and also a strategy for moving forward in the swing states for the midterms and 2024.
Oh, agreed. I think attacking Trump is the way to go. I wouldn't stop.
No. Well, for me, for attacking, what I'm attacking, what I'm going to attack is the results of Trumpism.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, it's the poverty it all causes.
Yeah.
I mean, it causes poverty.
Look.
It doesn't. It creates it.
Look, here you go. I'm gonna give it to you. I'm gonna give it to you in one capsule. Look, Goldsboro, you're the poorest ass fucking city, and I'm in the state and fifth in the nation, and you got your right wing politics to thank for it.
They're damn straight. I mean, it's a 1-to-1 ratio. It's one of the few things that are literally a 1-to-1 ratio thing. Racism and poverty go hand in hand.
Right.
And when the only thing you've got going for you is racism, you're dead.
Right.
You just don't know it.
Well, let's just take, for example, I'm going to use my father, for example.
Okay.
My brother and sister and mother and I don't know who else think he's a smart guy politically. I think he's one of the dumbest motherfuckers to ever live. And I hate to say that. He voted for Nixon. What happened to Nixon? He got impeached.
Yeah.
He voted for, he made me, pulled me by the damn hair of the head, metaphorically, and made me vote for Reagan over Jimmy Carter, my first time ever being able to vote. And that's one of my biggest regrets in life, that I didn't vote for Jimmy Carter, who I happen to think, and I think history has proven itself, that is probably the most decent man that's ever been president in our lifetime.
Yeah, I agree. And the cost of Ronald Reagan.
Okay, well, that's what I'm getting into. Look at the cost, and the very man that my dad, he's supposed to be so smart, the very man that my dad supports is the very person responsible for his ass going out of business.
What kind of business was he in?
Okay. We had a clothing store in Chapel Hill, North Carolina.
Oh, okay.
He bought the clothing store. It was an institution in Carborough, North Carolina, Franklin Street, which connects right with Chapel Hill. It was a fantastic location, and had a fantastic. He just incorporated. But my dad's main business was he was the independent sales rep for Perry Ellis, Members Only, Golden V Shirts, and all of these companies were based in North Carolina in the Piedmont region of the country.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard of some of them.
And then it was Reagan who downsized, outsourced, and it was Reagan who started shipping jobs overseas.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely.
And then my father blames Clinton for NAFTA, but NAFTA was written by a Republican and was supported by a Republican-controlled Congress.
Yep. Well, the thing about Clinton, you can blame everything you want on him, but he just wanted to get reelected. He was willing to sell his soul, and that's what I hate about it.
Yeah.
That jog to the right, the Clintons pulled.
Yeah.
That basically you can do you can work on social issues, and that's it. That was the thing that just pissed me off for years.
Well, back when Clinton was in office, I was 12 years. And also, let me finish up with my father. Then he supports Bush, who lied to us and then is the reason for every bit of this Afghan bullshit.
Oh, hell yes.
And he also supported and was sending money to Tom DeLay, who ended up going to prison.
Oh, I know Tom DeLay. Yeah, he did.
He ends up going to prison. So anyone who thinks my father is a smart political guy, needs to have their head evaluated.
Pretty much. I agree with you.
But
Tom Dulay, holy shit, what a piece of shit he is.
oh my God, and my dad was sending him money.
Yeah, he's a piece of shit to have, that boy.
Yeah, he's Greg Abbott and that other motherfucker Rick Perry all rolled into one.
Yeah.
He's a dumbass monster, is what he was.
Oh, hell yes. Oh, hell yes. Yeah, but you're right, Johnny. That's I don't know. You just have to wonder. But the thing is, part of it is before Fox News, there was a lot of shit going on anyway. They've had this shit going on for a long time.
Yeah.
They had good old Rush Limbaugh. He was the first one to start the perpetual lie.
Right. And look, my mom had his bumper sticker on her fucking car. Rush is right. You remember that?
I do remember seeing those things.
Yeah.
I worked in a store where it was a blood and paint store that, we all have our shit, and I'll tell you about this one day. I'm not going to get into it today.
Yeah.
But I got sent to this store, and he listened to Rush Limbaugh all the time, and I couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
So I know exactly all the shit he was saying.
I had, okay. It was like this, Mr. Rush. When I was in high school, I always worked in my dad's clothing store since like 7th grade.
Right.
Just like so many people from my area I grew up with, they're doing what their fathers did.
Right.
I always had in my mind as a kid growing up that I would be working in my dad's clothing store the rest of my life. I loved the clothing business.
Okay.
And I thought I would be, so I always was a glutton for punishment. When I would get into certain situations, I'd always run back and work with my dad. Oh, this time me and you are going to work it out, Dad. This time we're going to make it. This time it's going to work. Well, the last time, my dad, he had to start going in, doing flea markets all the time. And I was helping him on the flea markets. And I met a girl, and she had 3 kids, and she was having some trouble, and she needed a hotel room. So I took $60 from out of the till because that money was going to be paid to me anyway, Mr. Rich. But I didn't ask. I didn't tell my dad about it. I should have. I should have told him I was getting it, but I didn't. And what I did, she was going to be homeless, so I got her a motel room for a night. Her and her 3 kids. I got her a motel room, and for her and her 2 kids, so they wouldn't have to sleep in the car. And my dad fired me before that. He fired me because of it. So, my dad, now Johnny's a thief. I'm a thief. So, these kind of things is why I'm just explaining these to you, Rich, because I want to try to give you an example of why I am the way I am.
Okay. I think you're fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't need to explain. I think you're great.
Yeah. Well, I think I really turned my life around, and it's because of meeting people just like you, Rich. I can't tell you how many wonderful people I have met through the House of Public Discourse.
That are just nice people.
That are just good, everyday, have caring heart people. And I used to think I was the only motherfucker that had one. And how wrong was I? Because there's a lot of good people out there. And there's a lot of people who think like we do, Rich. There are. There are more than there are them. But the problem is, like you have so eloquently put out there, is that these rich people have controlled their mind, and I think they've used racism as one of their main tools.
Oh, it is the tool. segregation. It's economic segregation they're pushing.
Right.
They're all saying that the people would get because they deserved it. That stuff. That was what it was. It was economic segregation. The black people would be poor. We would be rich because we're just righteous folks.
Yeah.
And the black people are just gangsters and killers.
And also too, I don't want to be misunderstood in saying that I hate capitalism. What I hate is the capitalism that we have before us now.
Yes, I'm with you. I think capitalism is a good way to go if it's tightly regulated.
Right.
The problem we have now is that once the rich guys got on top of us, they're not letting up.
It's a football game for them, okay? It's win, win, win. Whoever my competition is has got to lose, lose, lose.
That's exactly right.
So what has happened is that one employer can't hire all these people, or he wouldn't be able to win, win, win.
That's right. And the thing of it I've learned over the years is I don't really want to be someone's employee if I can avoid it.
Well, let me tell you, you damn right. That is the reason I slept under a fucking bridge. That is the reason I hitchhiked around the country and worked job to job. I have just never been that guy that could work a 9 to 5 and be under the thumb of a boss.
Yep, I agree with you. I mean, I did it for years and years and years. But
So what I did, the way I circumvented that, is that I found a job doing something I love, radio DJing, and I started my own little DJing business, and I was getting business out the ass. I was doing weddings and birthday parties and family reunions and, working in nightclubs and spinning music in nightclubs. I didn't have a boss. And I want you to know these people, especially my family, hated me. They ridiculed me for it. You need to get a real job. You need to go to work at the factory down there and get on the assembly line. That didn't work. That didn't work for me.
No, I agree. I'll tell you what. Once you work for somebody, they own you. But I'll tell you what. The other thing is never have a partner either. I learned that the hard way. I had one partner steal $164,000 from the business.
Jesus, holy Christ, I can't even fathom that.
Well, we were a big company. We were making money. He just decided that, we're not making it fast enough. I'm one of these people who you build your business first before you start grabbing a shitload of money, right?
Yeah.
You build the business. You don't just rape it and then, kill the business.
Yeah.
What an asshole.
Yep. I think that's what my father did, trying to keep up with the Joneses, buying a boat, buying another. Look, we were living in a beautiful house in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, in a wonderful neighborhood. And listen, Rich, in the #1 school system in the state, okay? That's how good the education in Chapel Hill, Orange County is. It's the best school system in the whole state. And because my mom thought everybody was a kook and a liberal hippie, Jesse Helms, you remember him?
Oh, yeah.
My mom was a huge Jesse Helms fan. He made a comment, they should build a fence around Chapel Hill because of all the hippie liberals,
I never heard that, but
yeah, he made that comment. And she couldn't get her little gossip country woman, community gossip in Chapel Hill. She was a nobody in Chapel Hill. And she couldn't deal with it because she's a narcissist. And she made life hell for us. And my dad ended up having to move back to the country, move away from the city where his store was, which caused more than anything his store to fail, if you ask me.
Okay.
And we all moved back to Redneck Rosewood because of her. They can say otherwise, but I know that's the reason, because I lived it. I was there. And my sister was only 2 years old, so she could sit down and shut the fuck up.
Okay.
And they moved me back to the worst, or one of the worst school systems in the state of North Carolina. in Wayne County, Goldsboro. So, they can say what they want to. I have, I'm not. It's not that I'm angry anymore, but if I am angry, I'm just trying to take that anger and channel it into a positive instead of a negative.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I think writing your book, you're going to find that to be kind of like psychotherapy.
It already has been, Mr. Rich.
That's a good thing. I think that's the one thing you can be sure you're going to get out of this. All those feelings that you kind of, I know that I did, you kind of hide and push back and forget about, they'll come out. And in doing that, in the end, you'll feel better. Right. It's going to be hard to push through doing it, I bet.
Yeah, well, just like we said when we started this process, Rich, that me and you, either one, will probably see it come to fruition. But at least we can die with the thoughts that we tried as hard as we fucking could.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that in itself is a very important thing.
Yeah. I think what I have come to learn, it's not, I grew up in that culture. It's either a success or a failure. It's either a success or a failure. And I've learned that that's just not the truth. There is an area where you don't have to be successful, and just because you're not overly successful doesn't mean you're a failure.
Right.
And I just feel, Mr. Rich, let me tell you something. I'm a person that don't have many bills. Okay. I always lived meagerly. I never incurred a lot of credit card debt. I incurred some child support debt. But not credit card debt, or I didn't have a house, a mortgage, all that stuff. And, I suffered a little bit from it because, you're grown up to, you're grown up socialized to, that's what you do. You finish high school, you go to college, you get out of college, you get married, you have a little white house with a white fence around it.
Yeah.
And, what I'm at 60, what I have found now at 60, if we could get some of these things that we're trying to do, I am basically providing for some, extra income retirement for me.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, you put in the work.
Yeah, and what gives me some solace is that I suffered a lot all them years living meagerly. But by God, I'm living good now. I got a wonderful wife, a wonderful place to live, and all I need is a little bit of success. And by God, I can have some windfall profits here.
Yeah, the thing is, you got to keep remembering, Johnny, is you ain't fucking dead yet.
That's right. And I'll tell you what, I ain't gonna quit kicking till I'm quit kicking.
Well, good, me either.
All right. Well, Rich, I've enjoyed the conversation. Let me get out of here. I got to go.
I have enjoyed it also.
I could talk to you.
Anyway, we're moving ahead here. Let's just keep doing it.
Yeah, I've got. I'm going to get as soon as I get Mr. I think his last name is Snow, Mr. Salem Snow. When I get Mr. Snow's information, we're going to go to work on getting him elected. Let me tell you what I told him. I want you to tell me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
I said, Mr. Salem, you don't realize it right now. All I am is just a simple country boy, but you have entrusted yourself with a soldier. I will fight for you and fight every ounce of the way for you to get elected, and you have not made a bad choice in putting your confidence in us.
Absolutely.
All right, sir. I love you, man.
You too. You take care.
Hey, let's start a good business. Let's do a business here. We need the money, sir.
Well, you're right, and the best part is that we can make money while doing good.
Right, and providing something that's positive for our communities.
Agreed.
All right, love you, man.